Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull on this incredible hidden thread that seems to connect all of humanity. We're talking across thousands of years, across every culture you can imagine. And it's a pattern that shows up not in our answers, but in the questions we just can't seem to stop asking. So, let's kick things off with a little bit of a puzzle. I want you to picture a few different people from history, scattered across time and space. And at first glance, you'd probably think, no way, these people have absolutely nothing in common. Okay, first step, let's go way, way back. Picture a poet in the ancient Near East, maybe someone like Moses, trying to find the right words to describe something, well, divine. Now, let's jump across the globe to ancient India. There's a young prince there. He's walked away from his palace, from everything he's ever known, and he's sitting under a Bodhi tree, trying to get to the bottom of why people suffer. All right, let's fast forward a bit to the Islamic Golden Age. We're in Baghdad. A philosopher is up late, working by lamplight, wrestling with these huge ideas about logic, faith, and the very fabric of reality. And now, let's head way up north. It's the Viking era. Imagine a poet, a skald, telling stories by a roaring winter fire, spinning these epic tales about how the world began, about gods and giants. And for our last stop, let's land in 19th century London. There's a German economist, you might have heard of him, hunched over piles of books in the British Library, trying to figure out if there's some kind of hidden pattern to all of human history. So, we've got a poet, a prince, a philosopher, a skald, and an economist. What on earth could possibly link them all? Well, here's the really wild part. Even though they lived in completely different worlds, with totally different beliefs, they were all asking the exact same questions. Just look at these. These are the heavy hitters, right? The big ones. They were all wrestling with these questions. And, they're the same questions that keep us up at night, even today. They're like the constant, echoing soundtrack of the human story. So why? Why this incredible overlap? How could people separated by entire civilizations and worldviews land on the same fundamental problems? Well, it's not some weird coincidence. The answer, it turns out, is buried deep in what it means to be human. These questions pop up organically from this thing we call the human condition. It's this basic setup we all share. Think about it. None of us asked to be born, right? We just show up here. And we quickly learn the world doesn't always cooperate with our plans. And most importantly, we love people. And inevitably, we lose them. The great scholar Huston Smith spent his entire life studying the world's religions. And he said that when you boil it all down, every single one of them was trying to answer this one fundamental two-part question. The answers were all over the map, of course, but he realized the shared question, that was one of the most important facts about us as a species. Okay, to really get a grip on this, we've got to talk about the philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein. He made this brilliant distinction that helps make sense of all of this. Wittgenstein had this amazing thought experiment. He said, imagine science figures everything out. Like, we know how every single particle in the universe moves. We have the complete instruction manual for reality. Even then, he argued, the deepest questions about meaning and love and suffering would still be just sitting there, completely unanswered. So he split problems into two types. On one hand, you have puzzles. A puzzle has an answer, a math problem, a crossword. You figure it out, you solve it, and you're done. But then you have riddles. A riddle isn't something you solve. It's a mystery you live inside. It doesn't have a neat answer. Instead, it gives your life a direction, a purpose. So all those great traditions we were talking about, they're not trying to solve the riddle of life like it's a puzzle. They're not handing you an answer key. What they're doing is offering a way to live inside the mystery. They give you a story, a set of practices, a community to help you face the questions that never, ever go away. So let's bring it all home. What does this deep, universal impulse to ask these huge questions really tell us about us? Think about it like this. Animals are incredible problem solvers, right? A squirrel is a genius at solving the problem of how to get nuts for winter. A beaver is an expert at solving the problem of how to build a dam. But only humans step back from it all and ask, wait a minute, why are there problems in the first place? Why is there even such a thing as suffering? And that impulse, that need to ask why, it isn't some kind of design flaw. It's not a sign that we're confused or broken. It might just be the most profoundly, distinctively human thing we do. It's what makes us who we are. And that kind of leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. If almost all of history's great traditions disagree on pretty much every single answer, but they all take the same questions with deadly seriousness, what does that tell us? Could it be that they're all pointing from their own unique perspectives at something incredibly fundamentally real